Welcome back to the Nurburgring. Yesterday was really wet. And then really snowy, so two different types of weather on each lap, which was pretty tricky. So I don't think I really got a good sort of go round the Nürburgring because of really the conditions, and it was just a little bit too wet. You couldn't really push yourself, and it was more like two sighting laps than anything else. Fantastic learning experience, and I loved going around with Mark. It was an awesome experience, but you can't really push it. So hopefully today the track is going to be a lot drier if this rain stops, and that should mean that we can have a little bit more fun around the Nurburgring. But might as well take the opportunity. I'm here anyway, and I'm here for another night, so I might as well take the opportunity to get round. I'm going to do a couple more probably coached laps, and then I'll probably do my first ever solo trip around the Nurburgring. It's going to be an exciting day in spite of the weather, but I think this morning there are some fast cars going around. I think these are the professional hours, so I saw a nice sort of GT3 in the car park earlier today. So we're going to go around, have an explore, listen to some cars, and see some cars go around fast around the Nürburgring in the wet. Whoa. My name's Tom and I'm your Nürburgring weatherman. It has just about stopped raining here. It's been raining pretty consistently throughout the morning, including some snow. Luckily that's stopped. The sun is starting to poke through the clouds. I'm hoping that that's the rest of the rain, so that gives the track some time to dry off. If it continues to rain in drips and drabs, that's actually going to be less safe than a fully wet track. Why is that? Because the track will start to dry in different places, which means some corners and straights are going to be dry, some parts are going to be wet, and you're not going to know which is which until you get there, which means it's going to be really difficult to make good progress, and you might just have to err on the side of the caution like we did yesterday and use the wet line, so the right or the left hand side of the corners, depending on which corner it is, to make sure that you have the maximum amount of grip and can put down the maximum amount of power when you exit that corner. We'll see where we go. Fingers crossed it stays dry. Either way, I'm going to go out regardless. I'll probably rent another car. I don't know if I'm going to use the Cayenne because just going up and down some of the mountain roads and stopping, you could smell that sort of kind of what I think is burnt clutch, but does it have a clutch? It's an automatic. I don't know. It was definitely smelling very, very hot. So taking it around the Nürburgring probably isn't the sensible decision considering I've got the drive back to the UK tomorrow. That's the update so far. I'm going to hang around here for a little bit, see if I can catch any cars. The access you can have here is amazing. You can literally rock up onto a hill, there's no tickets, there's no barriers stopping you, and just enjoy some spectacular views of the track. These are some lovely flowing corners, quite tricky, quite technical, and there is what I think is... There's a quite sporty Golf that's been going around and making some phenomenal noises, but you can just watch them track as they come round and hammer down and then ease off and then turn into the next corner and then down to a really long straight. I wish I knew all the names, but I don't. But the fact that you can just walk up here and see all of these views is phenomenal. No tickets, no prices, no barriers, and there's no one else here. It's really quiet. I mean, does it get better than that? I don't think so. Right, it is getting proper windy up here, so I'm kind of worried about the camera tipping over and smashing, because you know, we remember what happened last time when that camera fell over. So I'm going to close down here and then get back to sort of the central Nurburgring area. And as you can tell, it's pretty damn wet. My kind of plans of getting probably a dry lap of the Nurburgring this trip have really just gone out the window, because as you can see, it's pretty wet. Pretty wet. It's good to get some practice when it's wet, because I think you become a better driver, and then we get to go out in this thing, I think. Yeah. So I drove this green one yesterday. I assume I'm going to get it again today, but definitely, you know, in this weather you can't do the Supras, because you probably crash and die, and that would be bad. But yeah, just try and have some fun, get around safely. I'm still planning to do a solo lap. Again, it really depends how I feel and how the track feels later on today. Like, just go through that first lap with some coaching, just see how I feel, and then, you know, if I feel confident, then I'll definitely go for that solo lap. We'll have to see. But I'm looking forward to it. As it stands right now, I'm going to go for that solo lap, but it really does depend how the track feels. Got to be confident, cross my fingers, and we'll see how we get there. But for now, I'm going to get in and just go through the briefing, and then we will be on our way going back on the Nurburgring. Okay, so we are doing the first solo drive on the Nurburgring. I'm feeling pretty good, not overconfident, but I'm feeling okay. I think the mission today is just get through, and I'm sorry that there isn't an external mic. I didn't really have enough space to get my mod and all that sort of stuff up there, so the sound quality is going to be a little bit shit, and I do apologize for that. But my focus is getting around and having fun. The weather is, although it's been raining, the weather is better today. So, you know, yesterday was pretty consistently raining and then it was snowing. This isn't so bad. It's still wet, so this is not a full send moment. And I do believe those are the guys from Top Dead Center. Alright. So, it's busier on the track. There's more tourists. Need to be sensible. So, the first lap's on the Nürburgring on my own. This is such a big moment for me because, you know, I've been watching people do ring laps for a long time, and so it's just awesome to be out there, to be on my own, and not to be absolutely crapping my pants with anxiety, because the Nürburgring is incredibly challenging, as I've said before, and so doing it on my own and not having any sort of worry or anxiety is a really big step for me, because there's so much that can go wrong on a perfectly dry Nürburgring. So getting out there and doing it on my own in these conditions and feeling okay about it is awesome, and I think that's all down to Nurburgring and all the sort of support they've given me on those coaching laps over the last few years. And, you know, if you can go out there and just do it on your own solo without any prior training, fine, more power to you. This is just my experience, and this is what I needed to get there. So this has just been absolutely fantastic.
can just see, how much more confident I am driving the car, even compared to the day before. That's big. The conditions are slightly better, but also I'm just more experienced and I know roughly the lines to take. Yes, I'm still not being particularly fast. There are no heroes here, but I think it's just such a testament to all the work that we've put in. And I can't wait to get back here when it's actually dry. And that way I can actually, have some confidence about going a little bit faster. But, I'm able to kind of pick the right lines and progress sort of smoothly, still slowly, but still, be able to make progress and feel comfortable, and even start to overtake some of the other people on the track, which is always a bit fun. And yet, this is not a race, and you're just going round. And I think that's always important to not get sucked into other people going around the lap. I think it's really important for and I think it's really important whenever you go across, I think it's really important whenever you go to the ring to not get sucked into other people's lines or speed or anything like that. This is not a race. This is, essentially still a public road. So just go around, go at speeds that you find comfortable and that you are capable of driving at, and just go have fun. But I just feel so happy about these laps. We've managed to do so much in so little time in really tough, tricky conditions. Like that's something that I cannot undersell, that how wet it is out there, how little grip there is. And so yeah, there's definitely going to be people going around faster, but they might have the right tires for it, and they might be more experienced. So for me, this is a very comfortable speed. I'm making good progress and I'm having fun, which is the most important thing. There isn't going to be any sign of the TDC guys because they went off very, very quickly, and I'm sure they're having a lot of fun. But yeah, I think they went with a lot of conviction into these laps. They were definitely making the most of it.
Come on, gearbox, find a gear.
But the weather is so much better than it was yesterday, and so yeah, it's still wet, but it is not driving rain. Visibility is a lot better, spray is less, and so it's just a lot easier to drive consistently, smoothly, and at a little bit faster pace as well.
One thing you don't want to do is take curbs in the wet because there will be zero grip, especially in a rear wheel drive car. That's dangerous. Yep, copy, Tom. My first lap of the Nurburgring completed and I didn't crash! Yes! Get in! Oh! Woo! Fuck me! That was bloody amazing! Oh my days! I know I wasn't talking much, but holy shit, that was great!
It is the next day and I've just been looking through some of the footage from the drives around the Nürburgring yesterday, and okay, it's slow, but I did it and I'm so proud of myself. I've done 3 solo laps of the Nürburgring, which is just so epically cool. And it's given me the confidence to think about, okay, why don't I get my own car around the Nürburgring? No, that will never be the Cayenne, because honestly, I just don't think it would be particularly good around the Nürburgring. I think it's a big, heavy car. There's lots of corners, lots of gradient changes, and the gearbox isn't particularly good. The Triptronic just doesn't really lend itself well to fast gear changes. So I don't think it makes sense, and that's why I didn't take it round today or yesterday, and that's why I went with a rental, because I wanted to get the most out of my time here, and I knew if I used the Cayenne that wouldn't happen, because I'd be slow and I'd be worried about breaking it, because that's my journey home. But it has given me the confidence that yeah, I can drive around the Nürburgring safely in the wet. You know, that is very, very challenging, and you know, mistakes could have happened, but they didn't. So that means that I can perhaps start to think about a replacement car that is comfortable for a long journey, but is good around the Nürburgring. So that's going to be a good sort of quest over the next kind of couple of months, because I do want to return this year, ideally in the summer when it isn't raining. It'll be busier, but I think I'll be able to have a little bit more fun on track. And I think my brother wants to join as well in his Corsa, so it'd be good to get like another brother road trip in the books at some point soon. What was cool is I saw the top dead center 911 go onto the Nürburgring for the first time. I was literally right behind them, so it was cool. And you might even see the car that I was driving in their video, so we'll have to check that out soon. And it was good to kind of meet up with the Auto Alex crew for some food later on last night. That was very, very cool. So it was nice to see everyone, and thanks to Alex for letting me join. It was good to kind of chat Cayennes, because he's brought a free to him Cayenne to drive around the Nürburgring. I believe they're doing that all today, so I think that's gonna be a fun video, and seeing sort of all the other, like the 911s and the Porsche 924s. I think they're gonna have an absolute epic time. But that's cool. But yeah, I've got to get home. So
I think in review, this has been a really good few days, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go to the Porsche Museum because it would have been a lot of extra driving. I think I would have to have been on the road home already, and it's something like 6 in the morning right now. And I think it would have been just a lot of wear and tear. And I wouldn't have had an opportunity to drive more laps around the Nurburgring because Monday's weather was incredibly wet, and you really couldn't. Safety was questioned, and the track was almost closed at one point. So, it might not come through on the video of Monday's laps, but it was really hairy out there, and I kind of came away thinking I didn't really get everything I could have out of that experience. And renting cars is expensive, so you want to be able to make sure that you get the most of it out of it you can. And that's why I was really, really glad to go back to Nürburgring yesterday and just go for it, as much as you could in conditions anyway. And Nürburgring were amazing. Again, I've used them multiple times. They actually gave me a really good rate because of the weather, the poor weather on Monday. They gave me a really good rate on yesterday's sessions. So, just really, really good. And the instruction is fantastic. So if you've never been to the ring and you want to go, I recommend going with Nürburgring, go getting some coaching, because I think it's only like €50 a lap. So it's not that much. And you will get far more out of that experience. And it will make sure that when you do go solo around the ring, you can be confident that you know what you're doing, and you probably know a little bit more than people who just rock up and drive for the first time. Because doing things on like Gran Turismo or Assetto Corsa is fine, but that's only going to teach you the track. It's not going to teach you how it feels or how it is going to be on the day. And so I think that's the difference when people just rock up and drive with just video game experience. It will teach you some things, but it won't teach you what the track feels like, what the cambers feel like, when not to go into the corner at a certain angle, etc., etc., etc. And the inherent risk of doing it in real life. It is very, very different. So I recommend getting some coaching first, and then you can go onto the track with confidence. Because yesterday I just drove. There was no sort of anxiety or anything like that. And me, I'm an anxious guy when I don't know what I'm doing. So I went in there cool as a cucumber, just driving and having a lot of fun. So, it has been really, really beneficial for me. And I think, I've had kind of 5 coach laps over the last couple of years. And that was my number to get confident and be comfortable in what I was doing. You may need fewer, you may need none, but we're all different. But for me, that was what gave me absolute confidence to come around in something else next time and not worry. Still be careful, still be sensible, but not worry about just being on the Nurburgring. So yeah, what that car is going to be, I don't know. Maybe like a GT86. I think maybe a GT86. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But we'll see. There's plenty of opportunities to always look at Auto Trader. But the plan for this morning is to pack up, then get to a petrol station, fill up, and there's a petrol station that sells merch as well, because I haven't had time to, ironically, I've not had any time to actually buy any merch. So I want to do that, get some presents for the family and all that sort of stuff, and a memento for me as well. And then get on the road back to the UK, because I've got a 20 past 4, not ferry, the tunnel. If I go to the ferry, I've definitely made a mistake. So yeah, getting a 20 past 4 tunnel. So I need to get on the road sort of, I think really about 8:30, but I'm going to go a little bit earlier because that way I can have a break at some point, because I think it's about sort of between 4 and 6 hours. Obviously if I get there earlier, happy days. I can probably get on an earlier train, but I want to make sure I've kind of packaged enough for the journey home. And hopefully the weather is a little bit better on the way back, and I can see if I can get the car a little bit faster back on the Autobahn. Other than that, it's just time to get up, get in the car, and get going.
So we are filled up with petrol. We're on our way to Calais. I'm going to be much earlier than planned at this time of the morning. My original one was booked for 4, I'm going to arrive there at 12. So hopefully I can get on an earlier train. But also there could be traffic, all that sort of stuff. You know, leave early, arrive early, and you'll generally be okay. That's always my philosophy, because there's not much else I can do around here. And, you know, I've achieved all of the goals that I had set myself for this trip. Yes, okay, we didn't make it to the Porsche Museum, but that's okay. That gives us another reason to come to Germany in the future. When that is, I don't know. What I'll be driving, God only knows. But I know I'll have a lot of fun when I get here. So the question is, what car should I get myself? That's something that's going to entertain me over the next few hours. Because, again, you want to have something that's comfortable enough for a long journey, but fun enough to go around the Nurburgring. That is quite a challenge. What that could be, I don't know. I do think I've left my water bottle at Nürburgring because I can't find it. I don't know where I've put it, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I think my decision not to drive the Cayenne round the Nurburgring is really the sensible one, because it's just not very good in the twisties. It's so heavy, and the gearbox is so unresponsive and crap, and you've got these crappy little pedals, like buttony thingies here, that it's just generally, it would just be really challenging for it, and it would put the car under a tremendous strain. And considering, you know, this car has done so well, and, you know, hasn't missed a beat on the trip here, and fingers crossed, I think it's going to be fine for the trip back. Wow, it's so pretty here. There's like mist over the mountains. I'm not too sure if the camera is going to pick it up, but yeah, it is very pretty this morning. Still cold. It's a heady 4 degrees right now. But no snow, which is good. Maybe I should get a BMW. I was chatting with the Auto Alex crew yesterday about potential next cars after the Cayenne, and you know, I've never owned a BMW. Yeah, okay, I've had a Mini, which is technically a BMW, but I've never had a pure strain, or as Ferrari like to call it, the pura sangue, which is pure blood BMW. And then they must be popular for a reason, right? And they are supposed to be, quote unquote, the ultimate driving machine. So maybe I look in that direction. Maybe I get an M3. Yeah, maybe a V8 M3. That could be good fun. Because I've never owned a BMW. So, whoa. These are tight corners in the Cayenne. Oh my days. Again, another reason why, yeah, getting this on the Nurburgring, because yeah, having this thing on the Nurburgring, like that is just not where this car is supposed to be. I am really excited to see Alex's Cayenne go around, because I don't know, it's a 4.5S, but I don't know if it's got air suspension. I kind of hope it's got coils, because I think that would probably perform a little bit better than this. I think the coil suspension is going to be a little bit stiffer, and I think that's kind of what you need for the Nürburgring. You need to be able to kind of go around and have a little bit more control. I don't think it's a manual. I think it's an automatic. So, and I think Misha is going to be driving it as well. So it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun for them. But yeah, seeing the 924, seeing the 993, and seeing the Cayenne go around, that's something I'm really looking forward to after the fact, because yeah, that's going to be a cool series of videos. And I know some of you are going to be saying, Tom, why didn't you? It's because this is a solo run. There is absolutely zero backup here, and you know, you have to prioritize when you're on your own in a foreign country. You have to prioritize being able to get back. And yeah, okay, it's a shame that I can't say that I've driven this round the Nurburgring, but ultimately, even when I was chatting with, you know, Alex and co yesterday, like, they totally understood that, like, this is a solo trip, there's no backup, and it's a lot of driving for the car. They've got like tow vehicles and support crew and all that sort of stuff, although Big Pete seems to be shitting itself, but like, I don't have that. This is just me and just this car. So I think it would have been a bit silly, but I don't know. What do you think? Should I have taken this round the Nurburgring, or should I have just stuck with the rental that I used? I know the rental, the Mini Coopers were certainly a hell of a lot more capable than this ever could dream of being, but maybe I should have done it. I don't know. I don't know. I think what my gut is telling me is I made the right decision, because I'm not feeling like regret about it, and that's an emotion normally comes quite easily to me. So the fact that I haven't done that, is I think pretty clear that I made the right call. But let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know, have you driven on the Nürburgring? What did you drive? Did you make it back okay? I think one thing I need to figure out for my return trip is the insurance aspect, because that's one thing I love about the rentals, is that, yeah, insurance costs a lot, but it covers a lot. And smashing into the Armco and all that sort of stuff is really expensive. Like, you're talking thousands of pounds. I think even just the recovery is something like 350 euros, and that's for a short trip, realistically. So you need to make sure that you've got protection and you've got cover, because if you do, God forbid, if you do have an accident, then it's going to be really, really expensive just for the ring costs, let alone whatever damage you do to your car. And then you have to think about, well, how do you get back? And all these sorts of things. It's really, really expensive. So I don't know how insurance works for the Nürburgring, so obviously I know your main policy won't cover it. So I need to figure out what coverage it is, because I think next time I definitely will take my own car around the Nürburgring. So I need to figure out how I make sure I'm covered, and obviously particularly with my brother likely going to be coming with me for that next trip as well. I need to make sure that we're all covered, because he won't have the experience or the benefit of the experience that I've had and all the coaching, all that sort of stuff. He'll probably just be driving straight on. So I need to make sure that he's covered, and he doesn't need to stress about all those sorts of things. But we'll see what there's plenty of time, because realistically it's not going to be until at least the summer that I'm back here. So it's got a long time to prep, and worst case scenario, I can always go back to Nurburgring, because it'd be nice just to use one of their cars in the. I just realised I was going a little bit slow. So it'd be nice to go to Nurburgring, because if it is better weather, they do have the Supras, and so they're like 260 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive, good chassis. I think a lot of fun, but obviously it needs to be dry for that to happen. And so it'd be nice to upgrade from the Minis and get like a rear wheel drive car. But we will see what I can find. And that's, I think when we get Matt out here, it might be worth him just doing a lap with a coach, just like I did, and then he can go out in his own car, because that experience is invaluable, and it gives you that confidence that you can go round the ring safely. because lots of people just rock up and drive, and that they can be absolutely fine. But on summer days, the Nürburgring is insane on a tourist fun. So it's something that I recommend to everybody, is just get some training first, because you can get yourself in so much trouble so quickly, particularly in the wet. And that's why that training yesterday was invaluable, and the day before, because I've never driven at the Nürburgring in the wet. It's a completely different track. I think what you'll never get from the simulators and from Gran Turismo or Assetto Corsa or all that sort of stuff is the surface, because it changes. And the weekend before, I think they had like a GT3 race, and so it had been absolutely hammered by those cars, and so it was super smooth. And if you think about a lot of like Grand Prix tracks, or tracks where you can do track days at, they tend to have a very good, very grippy surface, and that's not the Nürburgring. It is a public road, and so although it's maintained, it's not the same as a track, and so you don't have that inherent level of grip on the surface. There is, throughout the year, the surface will degrade as it gets used by so many people and so many races and all that sort of stuff. And then you add in water to that, so you have all the rubber that's been laid down by the GT3 cars and all the damage that they've put down onto the track, and then you add in water. It becomes like glass, and you need to be really careful as you go around. And what I thought was absolutely crazy yesterday is people taking curbs into some of the corners, and on a dry day, 100% you ride some of the curbs, not all. I know the one at the Foxhole has been changed and is actually really elevated. You used to be able to take that corner so I forgot to put down that camera on. Anyhow, so what was I saying? Yeah, so like on dry, you can totally take some of the curbs, and that allows you to go faster through some of the corners. But in the dry, that's a really bad idea, because all those curbs seek to do in the wet is collect water, and so you'll have It is 1:46. And I'm just waiting to board onto the shuttle. So I left Nürburgring about sort of 7:15, so that's not too bad. Pretty seamless drive. I didn't record the latter half of it because it was mostly just the most hellacious rain I've driven through in quite some time. Literally couldn't see in front of me that bad. So it was more about concentrating and not crashing or not aquaplaning versus creating engaging content. But managed to get here way ahead of schedule. My actual original tunnel was, I think, about sort of 4:15. So I'm going to be on essentially the 2:15. So 2 hours ahead of schedule. So well happy with that. And that should hopefully get me home ahead of the rush hour on like the M25 and stuff like that. And so far, I've managed to get around sort of 23 miles to the gallon. That's including some 120 mile an hour runs on the autobahn. So I wasn't driving as efficiently as on the way down, because I was less worried about the car crapping its pants. So that way I could actually just make some pretty decent progress, 70, 80 most of the way. So yeah, really impressed with the car. Hasn't let me down. Has been an absolute champ. I'm so proud of the Cayenne. Maybe I should call it, bring it a brand new name, because it's done this journey and it's not had any issues at all. It has been comfortable, it has been fast, and it's been very practical. This has been a really, really good car for this journey. Useless in the twisties, but everything else it absolutely crushes. So yeah, not too sure what to do with it next. That's on the thought process for the following week, really, is figuring out, okay, ultimately what do I want to do. But yeah, just really impressed with this car. it's done really, really well. And the trip in general, it's been really, really fun. And, you know, I've learnt a hell of a lot around the ring. And what I'm really excited about this time is I've got the laps, so I can actually review the footage whenever I need to. So, you know, I can do kind of just review my own guided laps. So, yeah, they're wet laps rather than dry laps, so the lines are going to be slightly differently. But I'm going to know sort of, you know, approach speeds and all that sort of stuff. You know, I think it's going to be really, really, really useful. Whew, what a busy couple of days. I'll crunch the numbers and figure out how far I've been later on. I'll post that probably on Instagram or something later on today. But for now, I think we're going to kind of bring the end of the journey, because we're about to board in sort of 15-20 minutes. And yeah, just saying, you know, thanks for watching. You know, it's been a heck of a ride. I don't know what videos are going to follow. You know, I'm probably going to get a new car, so I'll definitely do a video on that at some point soon. But for now, if you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you consider liking and subscribing. And with that, I'm going to chill out, and I'll catch you down the road.